All right, and we're live. There we go. We have an eventful episode of This Week in Showdown. My power went out 10 minutes before, and the guys here are gonna see if I can get through this in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, stealing the Wi-Fi. So,
Luck to you.
gentlemen, Yagi, how have you been doing this week?
Doing good. We hit week 2 on vacation at the beach, so going strong.
How much baseball are you getting in during vacation at the beach?
A lot more Orioles with my brothers here, but other than that, everything's going okay. Seeing some Orioles games, seeing some Rangers games as much as I can. Yeah, things are a little quiet in the evenings.
Is he as pumped as I am about seeing Trey Mancini have a little bit of a comeback?
Yeah, he's enjoying it so far. It seems he mentioned it yesterday, I think even.
So I have like a higher affinity than I should, considering he was like on the Orioles. By like one of my better memories was he hit like what would have been a walk-off extra inning home run that was robbed by Jackie Bradley Jr. And he just like very politely tipped his cap and walked back, and I was like, all right, got a fan for life for me, right? Like, plus he seems like a good dude and a guy who's easy to root for. If you haven't had a chance to look up his story, everybody, overcame cancer, came back to the majors, production kind of slumped, but now he's playing again for the Angels. And we got Cal on the line as well. Cal, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good to be here. You watching any baseball this week?
I am always watching the weather here in Metro Detroit, just seeing whether we're going to have baseball or going to have a rain out or a rain delay or a doubleheader or whatnot. So it's been a little off and on.
All right, we're going to ask you here. What do you want to have happen with Scooble here?
We were talking that before, right before you joined. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you two options. You can get like a 3 high-end prospects and like a already major leaguer haul, or you guys can pony up and pay him for like an 8-year deal at the end of the year. Which of those two?
It's not my money, so let's pay him.
There we go. Always go with pay him. I've also.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, that's the ideal, I think. I feel like he loves Detroit and Detroit loves him, and we want to keep him around. I just, with the market being what it is these days, I don't know.
I hope he's not too offended by what happened at arbitration either. The massive lowball that Detroit did and taking him to the hearing.
Yeah, for sure.
The timely thing, I got to watch the Oakland games or the Athletic games that are being played in Las Vegas now, and it is getting me pumped for when they have the stadium there. So we vacation at the Excalibur every year anyway. So when they said they were going to move in, it was awesome. And then just watching the ball pop out there is like, this is going to be outrageous. There is an alternate universe though where like Mark McGwire would have had like 85 home runs with Oakland there if this had happened like 30 years ago. You guys get to catch any of those games? Do you guys have the MLB package, or do you just follow your local team?
Yeah, I've got the MLB package and try to watch as much as I can of different teams too. I didn't catch any of the Vegas games. I caught the stories behind them though, and it's going to be they're going to have to do Humidor 2.0, I think.
Like load it up.
Yeah, I only have the local, so I haven't seen any of that. But thank you for reminding me to check out those highlights. That sounds exciting.
It is exciting. The Oakland announcers leave a little something to be desired. Their play-by-play lady does just fine, but the color guy sounds like he's in like a completely different room and can't hear her, and just speaks whenever like a red light comes on that tells him to. Like he doesn't associate. Yeah, I think it's Dallas Braden. He doesn't associate anything to what she says. It's just like he just shouts out nicknames. He's something.
Are they trying to like recreate Joe Buck or Vin Scully in the aggregate or something out there?
No, it honestly sounds like two completely different people who don't even know, like they just know it's their turn to talk. Like they don't like play off of each other. Like tonight, Yagi's Rangers and my Red Sox played on Peacock, so Lou Merlone and the Texas guy were doing it, and they don't work together, but they were like bouncing off each other a little bit, like asking each other questions and such.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's that hard. I remember seeing a Sunday night game that had like 4 broadcasters who don't work together, and they were all great. I don't know, like it's Seems like you can make it work.
Yeah, it's not even a 3-man booth. It's like the 3-man is weird. The two-person's not that hard, but the Oakland folks, a little odd. If you're, or not, I guess the Sacramento folks. If you're an Athletics fan, if there's something I'm missing here, please put it in the comments. Let me know what I'm supposed to know. All right. A lot of power this week. Anybody here you're super excited to see on the list again?
PCA, of course, right?
Yeah,
We're
our
still
boy
rolling that
PCA,
card.
who we said was not overrated. How about Byron Buxton with a 7 extra base hit week?
Yeah, if he stays healthy, he can produce.
Yep. Well, if he doesn't, he'll just get a prorated monster card, which he's good for.
Yeah. Yeah, that 15 to 20 home run.
Speaking of the Athletics, yeah, you can see 3 of them on here.
Yeah, just about all the Athletics and all the Rockies are on here, so none of them are going to show up on this next slide, just in case you were wondering.
No pitching. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have anything to say about the Rockies or the Athletics, this is the slide to do it.
Yeah.
Cal, anyone here looking exciting to you? Excited to see their card next year?
My hometown catcher, Dylan Dingler, who's also on one of my teams, as we'll see in a second, he's having a great season. Tigers have been trotting out like a lineup where 6 guys are under like 600 OPS or something like that. But Dylan Dingler's just been such a bright spot, and he's leading the team in home runs, and just really all around great player. So just great to see him on here.
Well, the 2-1-2 week is awesome for a card, especially because he's probably going to be like a 8 or a 9, right? So you get the homers and the double and the triple. It's like that triple can be so valuable. It can turn into anything it needs to be to give him a pretty potent chart, because this is the second week in a row he's been on this slide.
Showdown's so funny with triples too, because it's such the small amount of triples that happen. If you either get too many triples on your chart or 0, basically, and so if somebody is on that line and they end up with 16 triples or something in a full season instead of like the 5 or 6 that they got, or they get 0. And so I love the cards with the triples because they always just slightly overperform in that area.
Yep. So when I'm making the cards, when I'm making my sets, the triples are always just kind of like what they need to be. Like if you can get enough for a proper triple, it'll use it there. But it's like, do you need it to be a homer? Do you need it to be a double? Do you need it to be maybe a couple of steals? We joke that it's the Kevin's magic number from The Office that makes everything add up properly. It's like Schwarber hit one early in the year, and I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what we need. I remember there was one year that like Chris Davis had like 1 or 2 that were like pretty critical to his card. So love me some triples. Luis Arraez and Dalen Lyle with a pair of them down there. I don't think either one of them.
Is Arraez still playing good defense? Does he have like a good defensive card?
I don't know. The defense is wonky, and I'd be curious to hear yours. We'll go into the pitchers. A lot of the big we'll come back to the defense because I want to hear your thoughts on kind of the set as a whole. Pitchers, a bunch of folks are starting to get hot here. Our boy Logan Webb is like putting up Logan Webb stuff, so this is good. Alcantara, like we said, he was all over the map, and he is firmly in the I pitch good now camp. Anyone else here jumping off to you guys? Did anyone see Yamamoto lose his perfect game?
Watched the end of that one, yeah.
I did. That was.
Try
that one.
To those games when they happen and see what happens.
Oh yeah, that
was nuts.
Yep, and then your boy the Miz here just. So I was sitting there thinking, I was like, oh, is Miz gonna get outdone here by a perfect game?
Right.
I don't know if you guys play any trick taking games, but it's like playing the second highest card and then having the big one coming over the top. Or the Robin Hood splitting your arrow in 2, I guess. And then I didn't get Evaldi's final stats because my power went out, but I assumed they were great.
Yeah, he pitched pretty well today. Yeah. I mean, Bybee and Yamamoto being on here 3 times now in a row, 7, 8 innings. So they're making a run to have a 7-inning card.
Yep, and I think Sanchez is just about to go over 100 innings before the halfway mark. There are a couple guys who will be there. I'm going to guess there's going to be about 8 guys who are on pace, and like if 4 or 5 of them can actually get to 200 innings, that would be pretty cool.
It'd be cool to have 4 or 5 of them, yeah.
Yep. So, all right. We had another guy added to the 2026 set, sadly. Just a reminder, we had Carlos Correa. So here, Cal, I don't know if you heard this one. The one on the left here, that is like if you just put Carlos into the bot and then you go by like my logic of how cards are made, this would be his chart if you didn't do any like photoshopping. And the first one actually came out with shortstop +4, so I'm wondering if Matt's been listening and maybe tuned down middle infield defense a little bit. But then the edit was, what we found with the set was that speed is a little light, middle infield defense a little heavy, pitcher ground balls are a little high. So the league play is just, it's like double plays the league. Has that been your experience?
That's been my experience. I mean, especially the double play thing, or the ground ball thing, turning into the opportunities for double plays. I think that's an artifact even of the original Showdown set for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why the math doesn't seem to work out for that. Like the way that the Wizards of the Coast did it, the way the bot does it, all of that. I just always feel like there's more ground balls than like with runners on base and more double plays than I just expect to see in an actual game. And so I think if there was something that might be something that if I wanted to increase the accuracy, I'd maybe tweak that a little bit. But I'm not really sure exactly what gives rise to it. It might even just be the way that we construct our teams.
Yeah, so the way that we've tried to solve it with the sets are by pulling back those not letting people get those crazy double-digit infields. So here, like Correa would have gone from a shortstop 3 to a 2 or a third base to a 1. Do you think that's like think that'll kind of help out a little bit? My family's about to get in the car here, so you guys can continue talking.
I think it definitely would. I am one of those people who doesn't. I'm always shooting for kind of like a middle range of, I guess, what the original set offered in terms of middle infield, something like 8 to 10 or something. So I'm not usually maxing out, but I don't like to ignore it. And I know that there are some strategies that kind of say it doesn't matter all that much. But I feel like I get so many ground balls out of it that I kind of want it to at least be at a certain minimum. And I think if that was harder to do, we would probably see a pretty big drop.
Yeah, I'd like to see the ground ball to fly ball. It's tougher to edit that on the charts. Like changing out whole charts in Photoshop is a bit of a hassle. Like you basically need to have like the chart you want, but not on the player that you want it, and cut it out. Otherwise, you're like fiddling with individual numbers. So, all right. So that was Correa. He was one. We had done him before, right? He got hurt a long time ago. Adolis Garcia gets hurt here for the Phillies. So he has a lat muscle, out for the year here. So not a big on base, right? So we got a guy with a 270 on base percentage, but a good bit of pop. So you see the card on the left. That's where he comes out if you just bring him out of the bot. And for me, I go to the steroid time frame, and that's chart number 2 just to get him the 5 because of his on base. I would have a confidence of 5 of putting him in the set. The edit that I am suggesting for him is give him 3 speed. I think he actually moves pretty well. Take one of the outfield defenses away because he actually doesn't have a ton of range. He doesn't get great jumps. And then he's just still 90 points. You guys' thoughts on that as him as a player?
He's got a spot on somebody's bench, I think. I mean, you might have somebody trying to save points and put him number 7 in the lineup or something based on this. I like the idea of changing the defense because I think a lot of Showdown defense is based on outfield arm and not necessarily range. So dropping one off to account for that makes sense to me.
I think for me, if I'm going to pick up a card in this range, I kind of want both the speed and the defense because I'm not really getting the bat. Like, I want somebody who's not going to be grounding into double plays, and I can move around the bases if for some reason they walk or something and get on. But I also want somebody who's going to contribute some more defense, or at least maybe some more versatility in the outfield. So, I want one edit and not the other if I'm like looking to draft that player. But I do think that that Adolis's defense does tend to come from the arm. But I think that's usually, like, for me, that seems where most of the defense in the outfield and Showdown comes from anyway. So I get where the bot's coming from, but then, yeah, you want to account for the range as well.
Yeah, that's the interesting one, right? Is like how do you
He should
square
have
that?
1.5 defense now.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like, so if he's under 100 points, he's tempting as a bench player. So if you give him the extra defense and you round him and you get him up to 100 points, is like, does that one extra defense now like put him? Does that 3-digit number now become much less appealing?
Yeah, the thing with once you get to that
not so
100 point,
much.
the bench makes it a little harder. And I think for our 12 team league right now, I think there's only, if I'm remembering right, there's like three starters that are on base 5 or less. I think there's one team that has a 5 and a 4, and there's another team that has a 5 as starters. So they don't seem to be taken as often as far as starters go. So he could end up in the realm of just sitting there.
But I think every sub 100-point player was drafted.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So that's always tempting. All right. So far our 2026 set still got a lot of gray space here to work with, but starting to round out a little bit, starting to get some players on here. Hopefully none of your favorite players end up on here anytime soon, but we will populate them as they come in. So, all right, Cal, you've been in the league as Petra. You've been in 2 leagues of ours. Let's hear a little bit about your Showdown story. How did you find Showdown?
Well, so I was a card collector, probably in the late '90s, just before it came out. Baseball and football. I never really was like a Magic player, Pokemon, or anything like that. I wasn't like playing strategy card games, and I actually bought my first pack of 2000 Showdown cards, not realizing it was a game. I got like a booster pack, and I opened it up, and I'm looking at these cards. I'm like, this is not normal. This is a game. And so then I had to go back, get the starter set, start playing it out, and built up a pretty good 2000 set that a friend of mine and I played a lot. Had collected some foils, never got close to the whole set. And really my interest kind of fell off after that first set. And then I didn't think about it for probably almost 20 years.
So you stopped in '01. You didn't stop in '02 when they switched the formula drastically.
Correct.
Interesting. So we hear the '02 bridge being too far. It sounds like this was just like a season, a meteor that flashed through your life.
Right.
And then,
right.
And you're like, hey, this is cool. And then you go on and do other stuff, and then you come back to it. What brought you back to it?
I think it was around COVID, looking for just different hobbies to pick up again. I kind of remembered it. I found some packs, I think starter sets and draft packs at a local game store. I started looking on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, yeah, this was a cool game. I should pick this up again. And it just happened to be right around the time that everybody else was kind of remembering and putting that back together, I think. Outside of a few of you guys who are doing the custom cards already, I was just, trying to find the original set. And then I kind of got introduced to the '01 and became familiar with the rest of it. And so it was just kind of a gradual thing until I, discovered the bod and this, joined a couple of leagues and that sort of thing. So it's been kind of a gradual thing since maybe 2020 or so, but it was really just all sparked by remembering, good times with the cards and looking for something I could do at home.
So I put out the all call, like, hey, I've made my 2025 set. I'd like to draft it. What do you see? What were your initial thoughts, especially when you knew that we were going to be drafting asynchronously?
I've done that a few times with a NPB set, doing the Japanese card leagues, and I really love doing that. I feel like I get a lot of time to kind of think about, what's my next step, how is everything shaping up, and it works really well for me, like during slow work days or things like that, and so I've sort of got a draft running in the background in my brain throughout the day, and so I love that. I am always keen, especially if it's like the 2001 sets and styles, to jump on an asynchronous draft and just kind of like try to refine my strategy and test out new things and kind of get familiar with different sets. There's no better way to get familiar with a set than trying to draft it.
Yep. Okay, so you look at my set. So I make it. You win with it. You crushed our first league. What did you see in this 6-man set that was like, hey, this is my strategy. I'm going to lean in here?
Yeah, well, the first thing that I thought was interesting was that you had used the 2000 batters and the 2001 style pitchers.
Hard mode,
Especially
man.
it really, like with the pricing on those players, it really tightens up how you have to use that budget, because it's not super different, but it's just enough that you're going to be a little bit more restricted than the original two using them all the time because of the way that the relievers are priced, especially. And so I thought I have to look for something different that I can take advantage of. And I think you had the rules set up. I don't remember if it was exactly this, but I think it was just something like unlimited steals. And looking at the catchers and seeing that, and seeing that you have the exact speed numbers. So like some of the A speed guys are like 22, 23. They're more than just your regular A speed 20s. I thought, okay, I'm going to try to kind of get an advantage here, just stealing bases, and putting together a fast team. And so I decided I'm going to try to do that rather than, trying to go for the home runs or pitchers with a lot of innings or things like that.
So Yagi, you played the whole league here. How did Cal's team play out, as you recall?
Kind of how he wanted to do it. I mean, it was a really fun team to play, if I remember correctly. It was always good. I think you actually swept me twice. Both of us played twice, one in the playoffs and one in the regular season. But yeah, the speed helped. You had some pop, and the pitching was really well. I mean, pitching was fantastic. Christopher Sanchez just went off, and the bullpen was really tight. I think bullpen was all top notch except for Chafin was the only one that had a bad year. Everybody else was performed really well.
Yep.
I know Schlittler did really well. He way overperformed, which was good to see.
I think he was 5-0 or something.
I don't think he lost. I think he had sub 2 ERA even, maybe. I think.
Yeah, and so I mean, without the double and the double walk, right? That was, that was being able to be defended by Davis. Like that's a pretty good formula right there, where people have to kind of earn their runs. Like they can't try to steal them one at a time on you.
Mm-hmm. I really like that Jacob Marcy card. Really like that as well. I had thought about drafting him for my team in the 12-team league. He performed that just single out and getting the advantage was huge. Him being able to get on base.
Yeah, and you probably got two of the like market inefficiencies, and Jose Ramirez is the best two-way player in the league as far as scoring runs and driving in runs. Who was in this set for you? He was doing great for Yagi this year, and then Turner. If you're in a league with unlimited steals, Turner's just busted in this set.
Yeah, it works for the for the double plays too with that +5.
Yeah, there's a good shortstop set. Okay, so it's already tough, right? You mentioned we got the 2020 or the 2000 hitters, 2001 pitchers. Let's just double the size of the league. What are your thoughts going into this?
Well, yeah, I mean, part of it was I'm going to do something completely different. The other interesting thing I will say is that I thought I was really going to have to fight for the players that I wanted because of there being twice as many teams. And I really didn't have to do that very much here. I mostly got players I wanted or players that were very similar to who I wanted. So I went with a very different strategy than I usually do. Bryce Harper was my first bat. I'm looking for somebody who gets on base, can steal some bases, has a little pop, and I don't care if he hits for average. He's got a lot of walks on this card, and this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted in a leadoff hitter. So I was very excited about that. And then I thought, after that, I just want people who put the ball in play. They feel like the Guardians or the Rays or somebody who they don't walk really. Everybody other than Harper, they hit singles, maybe some doubles and some homers, but these guys are hitting for average. Like that's what I'm going for, and that's something that I haven't usually done as a strategy. And so I thought I'd play it out a little bit differently. And I was able to I think that's something that a lot of people weren't looking for because I was able to pick up just about everybody that I actually had planned ahead of time. I didn't have to go to a lot of backups who were very different from the strategy I was coming into it with.
Yep. And you're right now. You're right at 500. Yagi, is it safe to say that Olson's kind of been the best offensive player on the team?
But yeah, Olson's one of the best offensive players in the league so far. I mean, I'd say top four. Got Ramirez, Schwarber, Ohtani, and Olson are kind of all right there as the top four, fighting for it. He's driving that lineup for sure.
And is the reason that Logan Webb's not in the top three in inning pitch, is that just because fringe guys just is pushing Crochet and Scooble, like redlining them?
Yeah. I think Webb's innings are still up there pretty good. He's had I think he got knocked around in at least one start that might have dropped him down a little, not getting the 7 average, but I'd have to look that in a little deeper and see.
Yeah, so
I actually picked him Webb up for the same reason that I did for Christopher Sanchez, which was I really wanted like a guy who could eat innings and really like rest the bullpen and kind of be a reset for that. And Sanchez has worked out so far a lot better than Webb has. But it was kind of the same thing that I was going for in both of those cases.
Yeah, and Webb can do it in some situations. It's just it looks like he's run a little cold, but not awful for you. And other teams, guys are throwing a ton because they have to. You actually keep a pretty well-stocked bullpen, so I don't think you need to push Webb like other teams might need to push their guys.
Yeah, Webb's at 60 and 2/3, so he's right under. I think your number 3 is at 61 and 2/3. If you have on the last slide you had, so Webb is right there as far as he's at 60 and 2/3. So he's 1 inning off of Paul Skeens there.
Yeah, he's right. He's right in that neck of the woods, which is where I would think it would be. But I would if that's the one name I would have thought would have been on this list. But I think the other guys are just pushing it a little bit. So you had a pretty tight run differential last time. Your team was able to leverage that to a lot of wins. You have 10 run differential here, but you're only 500. So the Pythagorean win-loss here, you're kind of running a little bit cold. How do you feel about your chances here to make the playoffs? How many series do we have left? We have 3. Is that what I got?
Yeah, 9, 10. Yeah, we have 3 left. Yep.
So what are we thinking is going to have to make it? You got to get in the top 6. So you finish 8, get 8 and 4. You're probably definitely in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most likely. So Cal, how you feeling? Do you think you're running a little bit cold?
I definitely think so. I mean, some of it is like that run differential makes sense for what I've broken down in terms of the stats. My team's doing what I wanted them to do. Olson is mashing, obviously. Harper's on base. Most of my hitters are hitting for average the same way that I want to. They're actually hitting a little better with runners in scoring position than overall. We're walking more, about half a batter per 9 innings than like the league average, but we have lower batting average against. So like the idea that we're not like putting the ball in play and moving those runners around, that all seems to be working pretty well. So I mean, when I'm looking at kind of how the strategy works, nothing. I don't have like a huge strength in any area, but I feel like the team's kind of doing what I want them to do, and the strategy's playing out. And I can see it in the run differential, but I'm just not seeing it in the wins and losses. So I'm hoping I can just get lucky in these last few games and hopefully make the run just at the end. I mean, just get hot at the right time, I guess.
If we make the playoffs, I want to duck you because Logan Webb is my worst matchup. Like, because he's just gonna have the advantage the whole time. My guys are never gonna get on their charts. So, all right. So here's your lineup as you described it. You got Harper, and something you didn't mention was you actually have two guys here at the end in Young and Meadows who are speed A at the bottom of your lineup. Who, like, if they get on, they kind of complement what Harper's doing up here at the top. And then I'm just gonna. Here are all your stats for your guys, by the way. So you see, like, Olsen's got the 15. But you got a bunch of guys in double-digit rack, which is awesome, right? You got one guy who's not. You got Quan, who's probably underperforming, and it's like if he picks it up, like, that can unlock a lot of things because now the lineup swings a little.
He's hitting okay at 276, but he doesn't really do anything other than hit for average, so I really kind of want him more at that 290, 300 area that some of the other guys are at.
Yeah, well, it's like he's not driving in runs, he's not scoring a ton, like, he's, I assume he's right there in your 5-hole, right? Like, that's, so, that's the one where it's like if he gets hot, like, you have a completely different lineup. So the interesting thing here is, like, so the red box here, right, this is your speed part, and all the, like, if these three guys get on in front of Olsen and Wilson, like, now you can just get, like, there's opportunities to drive in and manufacture runs here. And then, like, if Olsen and Wilson get on, you have the opportunity to have a big inning with the guys in blue back here, just being able to, like, keep the line moving. I thought that was a really interesting thing you did there.
Yeah, and that was exactly the idea. Pretty much everybody in that range was on my list. I mean, right off the bat, because I wanted to do kind of the batting average thing with a little bit of pop, I wanted Wilson and I wanted Quan. I got Quan really early. Wilson I was able to really wait on. Same with Dingler. And I love that the 3 through 7 range, that it's just a bunch of guys in like the 8 and 9 range that are just hitting for average. They're hopefully they're driving in runs if there's runners in scoring position. And yeah, Quan's a little bit underperforming, but everybody else is kind of in that range. Well, I mean, Vargas really is not. He's really underperforming, but I mean, you're going to have somebody who does, and thankfully Jacob Young's kind of picking up the slack there randomly. So,
yeah, I think the amount of 20s I've rolled with Jacob Young has been ridiculous. It seems like every series he's just, I don't know what's
literally,
happening.
my point of having him on there is if he gets on base on the pitcher's chart and he's got that CF +3. He's doing 2 things for me, and that's it. And the fact that he's been able to do more has just, that's great luck.
Yeah, I think he's one of a handful of us of players that I keep an eye on every series. It's just like, okay, when are they going to fall off the table? And early season, Colby and I were joking. Michael Toglia, after the first 3 weeks, was like on pace to be the MVP. He was massively. He's fallen off since then. But yeah, it's interesting.
He's kind of doing what he did in real life with the Rockies.
Yeah.
And then you have a thing you like to do with your pitching staff where you have the one guy who really, like, owns the game, the first game. It was Sanchez with your first team. It's Webb here. And then you pretty potent charted 2, 3, and 4 pitchers. Is that something you intentionally do?
Yes, it is.
Yep. So it's potent charge, but only 5 innings pitched, typically.
Yeah, I mean, I can either... I sort of my thought process is I can either pay more for that extra inning and have a worse chart, have a pitcher pitching 1 extra inning with a worse chart, or I can have all these bullpen options. And so what I like to do is try to get somebody who's going to give me 5 really good innings, and then we're going to turn it over to the bullpen. We're going to do that 3 times, and then Webb's hopefully going to help reset the bullpen most of the times we go through the order. I purposely got like Dollander, who's he's got a couple walks, he's got no doubles, or Leiter, who's got a couple walks, and just 1 single, 1 double. Really looking for the charts that work really well, even if I have to sacrifice a little bit of innings pitch. Maybe occasionally they're going to go an extra inning or something, even at a lower control. And I'd rather they be rolling on a chart that's just not going to. I've had so many experiences with the guys giving up just single after single and walk after walk on their own charts that I'd rather avoid that as much as I can.
Or in this league, there are guys who are learning how often 1 in every 20 rolls happens with the guys who have homers on their chart.
For sure.
So, Yagi, when you're playing this team, is it easier because he's got a pretty solid, 2 really good stud guys, but 3 competent guys at the end? Feels like most teams have 1 stud guy, 3 competent, and then a bum. Is that usually what we're seeing?
That's pretty typical, and I'd say, Jack Leiter's really performing well out of the 3 spot. Chase Dollander, looking at his stats, I mean, he's probably in competition as probably one of the better number 4 starters in the entire league. So I think the entire starting rotation is doing well. I think on the whole, your better relievers in your bullpen have been underperforming. So I think you have a good chance to swing back up here if Isaac Mattson doesn't carry his. He's got a 1.6 whip right now. If that turns into something better than it should be, that'll turn things around for you, I think.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's walking way too many people on my team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're kind of expecting him and Rogers to shut the door. And you carry a 2-inning pitch guy, which, with a 12-team league, there's only 10 2-inning pitch guys. So if you have one, there's at least 2 other guys who don't have one of those, and that's really tough in our league.
Yeah, I don't know how I haven't really examined too closely how he's been used, but my idea there is he's an inning eater. If we're way up or way down, he's gonna just, for not a lot of cost, he's gonna take care of some innings, and the other guys are kind of going to be more of the shut him down type of reliever.
Yeah, that's typically how I use the 2-inning guys, especially control 2, kind of low 100-point guys, kind of inning eaters. And he's been performing well. I think he's sub-3 ERA and a 1.1 whip, so not bad at all.
He's a perfect guy to go from your 5 hitter through the end of the order or something, where he's going to take care of a couple innings of lower on base guys.
Yeah, in our league, a lot of lineups are really top heavy too, so it leans into that. I think there's a couple teams where their entire 5 through 9 are, on base 6, so it can match up really well.
Is there anything else you kind of want to add? Anything that you liked or disliked about the leagues thus far, the set?
I really love this set. I love taking this different angle on doing the 2000 and the 2001, kind of mashing that up and making it a little tighter, because I love that challenge. I think it's interesting, the experience that I had with the asynchronous draft on the 12-team league meant that there's a lot of downtime between your draft picks, and then you end up, in my case, not having a lot of my players that were on my plan get picked, and so I'm sort of waiting around to see if they're still there, and then they are, and so I don't have to make so many adjustments, and so it kind of ends up being a waiting game versus kind of a strategic adjustment, I think. Do you remember roughly what your spot was in the order? I think I was a little bit after the middle, so maybe 7 or 8, 9.
Okay, so you were at the middle, but you weren't quite where you would just take a pick and then wait on somebody to pick and then repick.
So I did have a gap there.
So you would basically make a pick every 12 hours.
Yeah, some of the days it was. Yeah.
Yeah, or I guess every day, right? So the draft took just about a month. So you were there were some folks who would draft twice in a day and then skip a day and then draft twice in a day, like me, because I was at one of the ends. Mm-hmm. And then it seemed like the guys in the middle were drafting basically once a day.
Yeah, I was probably going 8 hours, and then maybe 16 or something like that, and then back to 8.
Yagi, where was your spot?
I was 3.
Okay, so you were closer to an end.
Yeah, it was take 2 picks right away, and because the people around me, or at least the turn, tended to pick pretty quickly, so it was like make 2 picks right away and then wait 2 days.
Yeah, and then because if you're there, then you end up making these lists, and then you're just crossing people off as they fly off the board.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, this has been a treat, Cal. We hope to see you here in the playoffs. Everyone except for me and my power hitters.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a treat to be on.
It's been a pleasure having you, and this has been another week of This Week in Showdown. Thank you all for listening in.